Welcome to the Mitchell S. Karnes Podcast. I have with me Sarah Hanks, and so author and founder of Brave Authors. So we're going to be talking today. How are you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fine. Is that your office behind you? Are you
It's my corner. Yeah.
your corner? Yes, I
Yes.
understand that too. We have seven kids, five of those a sibling group that we adopted all at one time, and so space always gets down. Now they are adults, and most of them moved back. I mean, moved out, and then I have two families, two daughters that moved back in with their families, and I had my oldest daughter just had a baby this Saturday, so
Oh,
that made
congratulations.
yeah grandchild number 12, and we have number
Wow.
13 on the way. So I understand in our last conversation from Brave Authors that you also deal with adoption. So tell me a little bit
Yes.
about your life and your family.
Okay. Yeah. We adopted our son Joel when he was 7, and we had already had 4 children. So Millie was a baby at that time, and we thought we were going to adopt an infant. Um, Actually, first we thought we were going to adopt. We tried adopting from foster care. That got slammed into our face. We tried adopting internationally from Ethiopia. That got slammed into our face. And so we're like, all right, we're just adopt a baby from the United States. We're just trying to figure out, Lord, what are you
Right.
saying? Where are you leading us? And then here comes Joel's case. He was 7 years old, and his mom um, put him up for private adoption because she didn't want him to have to go to foster care. And he was being raised by grandma. Grandma passed away. Mom was trying to, and she just couldn't. He has Down syndrome. And at the time that we adopted him, when we brought him home, he couldn't open doors. He couldn't do anything with his hands. He definitely couldn't write. He was nonverbal. He, he he had all kinds of behaviors and things, eloping and all of these things. And I just remember, we brought him into our home. He was about the same age as my other son, and just praying, Lord, unlock his speech. I want to know what's inside of him. And oh my goodness, you see him now. He's got his own little Instagram, Joel's Joy. He's like,
Right.
I want to be popular. He talks from the time he wakes up till the time he falls asleep talking. So when I
Right. You
prayed,
asked for it,
Lord,
right? Yeah.
yeah, I asked for it. When I prayed, Lord, unlock his speech, little did I know what I was asking for. I'm like,
Okay.
woo, overload with but yeah, he's doing great. He's in a pre-employment program now, and he's 21. So um,
Okay.
he has been such a joy to our life. And then we knew from the very beginning we wanted adopted 3. We wanted to adopt
Okay.
3. We just didn't know there was going to be such a big gap between Joel and the others, because we adopted Joel in the end of 2011, and we didn't adopt again until 2023. So it was just this process of waiting on God's timing, and then we adopted domestically an infant. So Hero is that little baby. He's got 2. He's not a baby anymore. He's 3. He's got 2 chromosomal deletions. And so there weren't, plus mom wasn't for sure she was going to go through with it. So there weren't very many people like wanting to jump at that risk of spending all this money, not knowing if they're
Mhm.
going to be able to bring a baby home, not knowing what that was going to look like with those chromosomal deletions. But he is a wonderful, joyful part of our family now. He's only slightly developmentally delayed and is otherwise doing great. And
Fantastic.
then when we knew, okay, we want these 2, the last one to be close to that one. And with Joel, there were more children with special needs than there were parents to adopt them. With Hero, it was like the other way around. Because of COVID, there were so many um, families that wanted to adopt and not enough children, adoptable children.
Really?
Um, yes. Of course, we're not talking foster care. We're talking domestic,
Right. Right.
private adoption. And I hated that because I didn't want to compete with other um, families, other women, because obviously I could have children. We already had biological children of our own. And I didn't want to like shove somebody out of the way to get a baby, that's kind of how it felt. It felt like it just felt yucky. But we found out that there were tons of adoptable embryos and that was a real need. Embryo adoption is a real need. So we stepped in and did an embryo adoption. So now Nora is almost 8 months old. She's a beautiful Asian baby, 100% biologically, genetically Asian. Um, and
So they just implanted the embryo then?
implanted the embryo.
Okay.
Yeah, I went through
Okay.
pregnancy just like a normal pregnancy. Yep. Yeah.
Wow. So you have a diverse set of adoption stories.
Yes. Yeah, we do. So now we have 10. She was number 10.
Okay.
We had other children in between Joel and adoption. So she's
You
our
have 10
last one.
kids?
We're done. Yes, 10.
Wow. Okay.
Oldest
I thought
21,
seven. I thought
youngest eight
7 was a
months.
lot. So,
Yeah.
well, you're going to multiply with grandkids probably too.
Oh yeah. I hope so.
So you have all that free time to write.
Oh yes, tons.
So how do you schedule that? How do you work that?
Well, everybody is in school now except
Okay.
for the baby. And so it's just worked out for me to be able to write while they're in school and the children are napping and things. I might have to slow things down here within the next year. Maybe I've been putting out 2 books a year, so I might have to slow it
Same
down
here.
to one. Um, I'm not exactly sure what it'll look like because obviously I want my family to be my priority, and I don't want to steal time away from them to write. So I'm just kind of figuring it out, navigating as I go, trying to grab the slots of time here and there to be able to write.
When did you start writing? When did you feel that pull or that desire?
Mhm. I actually wrote my first novel when I was 17, published it when I was like 20. It is now out of print. You can't get it because it was horrible. I self-published it. And
Okay.
I was not proud of it, so I took that off. But I kind of wrote as a hobby. I wrote Drifting in and Out of Sleep and Freshly Cut Grass. Drifting in and Out of Sleep, I've since redone. It's now awakened to life. But
Okay.
I consider my debut when I started looking at it not as this fun thing I'm doing on the side, but hey, this is what I really want to do as an author. And 2020 with Mercy Will Follow Me. So that's
Okay.
what I consider my first real book.
So what is your genre?
I write split time and time slip. So that time slip I have a time travel series, but most of them are dual timeline. And kind of ranging in history from 1820 through Reconstruction.
So define split time for us.
Yeah, that's when you have a contemporary storyline and a historical storyline, and it kind of switches between the two, and they're linked in some way. I really like to mirror um, the different situations. So I have a series that has a slave narrative in there and also deals with racial injustice in the present. So there's a lot of mirror there. And then I have a series with secret female Civil War soldiers. It's a collection. They don't depend on each other. And each of the struggles that those women are going through are mirrored in the contemporary.
So do you have a character that's in both timelines, or is it they're all separate?
The split time are
Yes.
separate, so
Okay.
it's normally an ancestor. Um, they have a ring in
So like a
whatever it takes.
parallel stories.
Parallel stories, and
Okay.
the present day are finding out about the historical storyline. And then the only difference with the time slip is that it's the same character going from the
Okay.
contemporary to the past.
All right. That's what I was trying to figure out how that did. I never heard that term time split. So
Yeah, and
that's
people use the terms differently, but
okay.
I think that's kind of what the industry standard is now, is
Okay.
split time and time slip.
Are these exclusively Christian, or do you just put a Christian thread in them? Or
They are very faith-based. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to really untwine the faith thread from the books.
And so who's your target audience?
Um, Women, normally, although I know that there's been, several men that have enjoyed my books, but I would normally target women in their between 40 and 60 kind of.
Okay. While we're on this topic, 'cause, we all have a different way we are inspired to write a certain and how you get that idea. So what is your process from inspiration to the page?
Ooh. Um, I get a lot of ideas actually from the children's section of the library when I go with
Okay.
my
Okay.
children, and I will pull out a bunch of the little picture, nonfiction picture historical books and look through those for something that kind of sparks my attention. And then when I find it, then I will get a whole lot of books, adult books, and go through and research. I am a plotter. So I do sit down, I get to know my characters really well. I plot out how the story is going to be before I write.
Do you give it flexibility in there since you were a
Oh
plotter?
yeah.
Okay. So
Well,
you're
so
more of a hybrid.
sometimes the characters are like, no, I don't think so,
Yeah.
and so then I gotta readjust. So yeah, it's a flexible plot. But I used to just completely pants, and I've kind of totally shifted gears to plotting now.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to what you just said because I just had that conversation with my dad. He didn't understand how my characters could have a life of their own. And I made the same comment that my character kind of sometimes says, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." He
Mhm.
said, "I don't understand that. What do you mean? So, what does that mean for you?"
Oh, the characters just take on a life of their own. I don't know if you can really understand it if you're not a writer.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I don't
but
understand.
I've been writing in third person, and I'm just like my character's like, no, that's not how I want my story to be told. I want it to be told in first person, or in present tense. It's just like, it just doesn't feel right. It's not going smoothly. And then I'm like, okay, this character will come through clearly in this with this other avenue. So I kind of have to switch gears. It's kind of a weird writer thing. I've been in when I visited Chicago, I was actually like, is that DeAndre? DeAndre doesn't exist. I made him up. And yet I know
Yeah,
he
you're
lives
looking
in
for him.
Chicago. And so I'm like looking for him.
Okay.
Um, it's just kind of one of those weird quirks.
Yeah, I was writing this series that I'm doing is Abbey Road's Mysteries, and so it's a homicide detective based here in Nashville. And now that they're doing the filming of it and they've cast an Abby, I can't help but see her and hear her, the actress, when I'm writing. And it is so strange how that morphed into who I had in mind to now she's Abby in my mind. Uh,
Oh,
so
how close was
I'm
she to your original idea?
doing.
How close was the actress to your original idea?
Physically looking almost identical. She has a lot of different things, but it turns out she has some of the background that because I had mine go through the military police program and then come to Nashville on as a police officer, and now she's moved to homicide. But but the actress is a ninja warrior, but she's 5 feet tall. So the character is short, not quite that short, but she is just kind of an taking on the personality of everything that I'd looked for, and that she doesn't exactly have the same background, but it's kind of incredible with
Wow.
that and with the side character. Um, Moving from there to Brave Authors. This is my first experience with that, and I'm so pleased to be a part of it. How did you come to that idea, and what do you want to see from it?
Oh, yeah. So this is our third year,
Okay.
I do believe. And I was running up against an issue in that um, publishers are often very afraid of certain subjects because that they're just more controversial subjects, and so they are very reluctant to publish certain things. And yet I know that there's an audience out there that's looking
Yes.
for them. I do. I see it all the time in reader groups, asking for these different things. And so I know that my audience is out there. And I'm like, if I'm going through this, I bet that there are other authors that are going through the same thing. So I love collaborating with people and networking. And I wanted to help readers find what they are looking for. Those readers, I know we're not for everybody. These books aren't for everybody. That's totally okay. They're for some people. Some people are looking for things that dive into, you know, issues like human trafficking and racism and these things. They're looking for those kinds of books, and it can be harder to find because they're not what publishers like to focus on. So I really wanted to help readers to find us and help us to find our readers. So I just put out a kind of a feeler. Would anybody be interested in collaborating? And I've gotten a really great response. We've had some people that were in it one year and then kind of bow out. It's a bit fluid because they might have written a series that they would consider brave according to the topics. And then they're veering and going to write something else for a little bit. So, they bow out of the group, or they get really, really busy and can't have anything extra going on, and then we have new people come in, so it's a little bit fluid. We've had some people that have been with us for the whole time, but yeah, that's the idea. We have a website, easy to go to, easy to navigate the subjects, find the books that contain those
And that
subjects.
website is, while you're on
Is
it.
braveauthors.com.
Okay. And then you explain these novellas. How did that evolve?
Yeah, that was just a fun collaboration. We put out 3 last year. We're only putting out 1 this year. It just kind of depends on who has the capacity to write more, right? Because we're all busy. We're all writing our own books. But we had 3 come out last year. We had Every Life Treasure. Those are 3 pro-life novellas and written by brave authors. And then Every Captive Free is 3 on human trafficking. And then we have 3 on church hurt and abuse. That's Every Voice Heard. That's the one that my novel is in. So those came out in October, November, December of last year. And then this year, we're going to have 3 novellas that are about overcomers, so that can touch a variety of those brave subjects in there.
Okay. So, what are you hoping for the future with your own career, with Brave Authors? Anything new?
Oh, there's so many things I'd love to do with brave authors that we just, we're growing and we're doing more each
Mhm.
year. So, but I would love to have, more author interviews and more author highlights, more highlights of different brave books, even if we didn't particularly write them. I feel like brave authors exist to help readers
Right.
find those books. So even if it's not one of our 12, 13 brave authors, to assist readers that way and help them find great books, and help them learn more about these different authors and their stories and their inspiration and all of that. Um, yeah, and I don't know. I'm just gonna keep writing. Just whatever the Lord inspires me to do, I'll just keep at it.
And I believe there's a big group between those two, uh, that dichotomy, because every place I was trying to get an agent and then go to a publisher, I went through 25 Christian agents, and I was too gritty for the Christian group and too Christian for the secular group of agents. Finally, found one that believed in Watergrave. That's the project with this homicide agent and her backstory.
Mm,
And then we went to the same issue when she was trying to get a publisher for me, and finally found one that wanted to get into
mm,
that group. He wanted to explore because he knew there were people there, like you were talking about, that um, that are Christians that want to tackle real life issues, but
yes.
they want it to be a clean, as far as the wordage verbiage is in the book, but to tackle those difficult subjects because the Bible does. And that's what
Right.
I kept saying to some of these publishers. I said, "Have you read your Bible? You know, you're this gritty. Talk about gritty. We have all kinds of
Mm.
subjects in there, but it was marketable or not."
Right.
And the
Yeah.
fear of being tied to, even when we were looking for locations, we're going to film the first one in starting in August. Uh, some of the churches that we were wanting to film some of these sequences didn't want to be involved in that kind of book,
Mm.
didn't want their church associated with it or identified by it. And so we
Right.
finally found one that said, "Yeah, well, come on." And so that's what we're going to be doing. And but I believe there are more authors out there that would like to write and feel like they need to write in that section, but are
Mm.
afraid that they won't be marketable and afraid that no one will take them on. So
Mm.
I applaud you for this, and I thank you for your uh, your dream and your inspiration for others with the brave
Mm.
authors.
I believe that the church should be at the forefront of these
Yeah,
issues. When we are silent, we leave a void for the world to come in and give their worldview on what these things should look like. A lot of the solutions that we might be frustrated with are because there has not been a biblically based Christian solution to that problem. So I believe we should be out here on the front, shaping
absolutely.
culture with the biblical worldview.
Yeah, and I think the church is also afraid of not being identified or being,
Mm.
and they're becoming more like the world instead of letting the world become more like
Mm.
Christ.
Yeah, well said.
Okay. Any parting words or advice for authors who are looking to get into Christian threads or Christian hearted books, but want to tackle some of those difficult issues?
Hmm. Um, I said, I mean, you really just be led by the Lord. If you really feel that God is putting it on your heart to write some of these issues, then I would encourage you to take a step of faith. Sometimes, the Lord might lead you to compromise a little thing here or there in order to get a book published, but sometimes he doesn't, and you got to stand strong. There's a lot to be said for indie publishing. If you are unable to find a publisher that'll take your work, so don't don't let that stop you from getting your books out. But also, when we're tackling these issues, like when I write about anything regarding racism, I need a sensitivity reader. I need somebody of that racial background to look through and catch my blind spots and help me to understand and help me to communicate correctly. So don't be afraid of that either, of leaning on each other and using other people to help get your story across in that way.
One thing I always said as a pastor when I was pastoring before my cancer um, is never compromise the message, but it's okay to compromise the method.
Mm,
And so, how we get it out there, but we cannot shy away from what God has called us to say and from what God's word is.
well said.
Okay. Thank you again for your time, and I thank you for spending this time with me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.